dangerous here at home. They're 13-3 at the Huntsman Center, and they won 5 of their last 6 home games, including that big win here Saturday night against Kansas.
Coleman Hawkins, we'll talk about. He's got his hands on the ball, number 33 in the black uniforms.
Doug McDaniel missing a 3, and Gabe Madsen pulls it down for Utah.
Utah got off to a great start the other night on Saturday here, running Gabe Madsen off of a slew of screens. And you're going to see him, his movement off the ball is as impressive as his shooting ability.
Ezra Ausar. Step back on the baseline by Ausar, the transfer from East Carolina for the game's first points.
He's got a lot of upside, Ausar does, and I like his aggressiveness. At 12 points, 8 rebounds against Kansas. A lot of those came on the offensive glass. Utah doesn't have a real big margin for victory, right? They have to do a lot of things really well. One of them is creating opportunities and turnovers.
Max Jones down the lane, gets to the bucket and ties the game.
They like to see Max Jones become even more aggressive as the season goes along. Jerome Tang, talking to you and I earlier today at shoot-around, said we need to find ways to get him more shots.
And a steal. Here comes Kansas State. Doug McDaniel, the drop-off. And down low, David Gasson missing everything, and the 7-1 Lawson Lovering lunging at it.
Lovering caused some problems the other night for Hunter Dickinson, who finished that game just 3 of 12 shooting.
Loose ball, tracked down by Jake Wallin for Utah. Wide open, and the 3 is short for Mike Sharafjamps. Doug McDaniel from the corner, and a 3.
His ability to relocate. You drive, you get the ball in Coleman Hawkins, and his versatility to drive that lane right down, and then the shooter has to know on that drive, can you get to a spot where he can find you?
Ball knocked away by Doug McDaniel. Long outlet pass, and the lay-in racing up the floor, David Gasson. 7 straight for K-State.
Turnovers leading to offense. 2 turnovers already for the Utes, and a good start for Kansas State.
Kansas State had only 6 assists Saturday night down at the Marriott Center in Provo in the loss to BYU. They've assisted on each of their first 3 buckets here tonight as Jake Wallin had a clean look. And the rebound pulled down by Coleman Hawkins for K-State.
And to your point, it's the first game all year that Coleman Hawkins didn't register at least 1 assist.
Mike Sharafjamps called for the foul.
Can your defense always needs to travel, Roxy. And can your defense be disruptive enough to create opportunities, in particular on the road, to give you extra possessions? Early on in this game, K-State has been very active. And after trailing 2 points, it's a quick 7-0 run to create this 5-point lead. And a lot of that has been because of their energy at the defensive end of the floor.
Early entrance for C.J. Jones for Kansas State. And also checking in for the Wildcats is Moby Ikegoke. Stepping back, tough 3. Coleman Hawkins forced that one.
His feet weren't set underneath him on the catch. If his feet were set underneath him, I think that's a fine shot.
Mike Sharafjamps left it short, and the rebound grabbed by Ikegoke. Transition 3. And Brennan Hassan comes up empty, and it trickles out of bounds, and it's a Utah basketball.
If you were here with us on our pregame show, when we had Joe Lunardi, I do agree that Joe, his point of the fact that loss at BYU, it's not a backbreaker for Kansas State. You know, I mean, that is a tough environment. You're talking about a school that leads the Big 12 in attendance this year, has been playing really good basketball. But you need to be able to get back to who you were. And they fell behind by as many as 22 points in that game. And you can't fall that deep into a hole when you're on the road. You need to get off to a good start, and we've seen that early here for Kansas State.
We call that our own edition of College Basketball Live.
Does that count as a studio hit in my contract?
C.J. Jones recovers a little out of control as the freshman David Castillo also in the game now for Kansas State. And some early subs by Jerome Tang.
The altitude is real, and this is not a deep Kansas State team.
Falls off. Good spin move by Max Jones, who got it back, but a foul going for the rebound. And it's on Kansas State, a push on Moby Ikekarike. 7-2 Kansas State. They run off 7 in a row. Slightly behind David Gasson, the leading rebounder for Kansas State. Miro Little checks in. Transfer from Baylor at point guard for Utah. And interesting to note that one of the big reasons he went to Baylor is the Kansas State head coach and Jerome Tang.
Really good job defensively against Gabe Madsen early.
And a foul. It's on David Gasson, and Madsen will shoot free throws for Utah.
They're running him off that three-point line. We talked about it. If we're mentioning the fact that he made 13 threes, I promise you that Jerome Tang is telling the team he's made 13 threes in the last 2 games. And so you've got to try to get him to move and create shots off the bounce and not be able to just catch and shoot from beyond the arc.
85% or one more for Gabe Madsen. Again, Saturday night became the all-time three-point leader in Utah history. Yes, he's got 35 attempted in the last 2 games, including 22 against Cincinnati.
18 of those in the second half. That's unheard of.
What was your line about?
I said that he was casting threes more than the fly fishermen on the Weber River here in Utah.
That's some great insider knowledge.
The Weber River is beautiful, by the way. I've been here since Friday.
By the way, it is the #1 fly fishing river here in the state of Utah.
That's what I was told.
Here he has a look at a 3. And the rebound, Zach Keller underneath for Utah.
If you stand and watch on the weak side on threes, Utah does a great job getting offensive rebounds.
Offensive foul, Ezra Ausar bowling right into Max Jones. And the first on Ausar.
Ausar wide open from beyond the arc, not comfortable there. And yeah, I mean, you dip the shoulder in like that, it's an easy call. This is an experienced officiating crew we've got with us here today.
And a good scatter report defensively by Max Jones, considering he knows Ausar is not a threat. Daring him to shoot it, knowing Ausar wanted to drive. Is David Gasson given the bucket, the goaltend on Zach Keller of Utah.
There's 2 things. One, it's a great screen on the weak side, but 2, the timing of the pass that came in from Coleman Hawkins was outstanding to put his teammate in a situation to be successful. It's important, the timing of the offense. Look how quickly he kept the ball high and just delivered it in a catchable position. So you go straight up with it, you don't bring the ball down, and you get the goaltending call.
Utah's missed their last 6 shots from the floor.
They went through a 7-minute stretch of not scoring in the second half of that game against Kansas, and they still won.
And a violation because Miro Little ran out of bounds on the baseline. And it's a turnover.
It can't be the first guy to touch the ball after that. Good call.
Already the 4th turnover for Utah. And they're just 1 for 7 from the field after getting the first points of the night.
Well, and you'd also wonder, like, how do you handle success, right? And, like, that was one of the things you and I talked about earlier today.
Good look for Brendan Hassan, who comes up empty.
You beat Kansas. Place is rocking. You come back in a very short turnaround. What's your attention to detail?
Miro Little darts to the basket.
Well, he played his best game for Utah since they played Baylor. He went through like a 5-game stretch where he's only getting about 1 point per game. He's a much better player than that. Good hustle play.
And he leads his Utah team in assists, and he comes away with a steal. The give and go to Jake Wallin. And the drop off and the block shot. Lawson Lovering will head to the line, which is an adventure, as the 2nd foul on David Gasson. And Lawson Lovering will shoot 2.
Now, you say he'll shoot 2, and we'll show you the highlight of the foul, and that's fine. The adventure you're about to see is made for TV television. Lawson Lovering does a lot of things to really impact the game. Shooting free throws, well, that's a struggle.
This is an adventure.
35%.
He should stare us down. And the cheer from the Utah fans. He should give us the glare, yeah. Keep talking about me, gas bags. There you go.
He was 1 for his last 13. He was 1 for 9 the other night against Kansas. But I will tell you this, he spent at least 30 minutes after shoot-around today. Managers lined up on the side at the lane line.
Like a game situation.
Game situation. And he was working on his routine and getting more comfortable and confident at it. He really does impact the game in a lot of ways.
He is tremendous defensively.
A good passer, too. Like, he can rebound the ball, he's a good defensive player, and he can really pass the ball.
He averages 2.5 assists a game. Miro Little comes up short, and pushing it is Coleman Hawkins. Transition 3. Too strong from Brendan Hassan. And it's out of bounds. And they're going to give it to Utah on the alternating possession, as none of the officials had a good look at it. They were checking with each other, and Utah basketball. Marquise Pettigrew working with Tony Padilla and Ron Groover here tonight at the Huntsman Center.
The way this game has started for Utah, I think you'd sit there and say, you're 8 minutes in or 7 minutes in now here in the first half. You're shooting 20% on your home floor, and you only trail by 2. I think if you're Craig Smith, you're going to be okay with that. You've turned it over. Good action right there. Movement just completely fell asleep on the back line of the defense for Kansas State.
Knotted at 9 after the layup from Gabe Madsen. That's the first assist for Utah tonight. Again, a team that's 7th in the country in assists and 18 a game. Max Jones tries to force it inside Onyenso. Behind a screen. And the 3 is missed by Gabe Madsen. Last touch by Utah belongs to Kansas State.
Previous possession, though, good ball movement. Creates a good opportunity to get a good, easy bucket. And Utah needs to kind of replicate that. They got a good look on that last possession as well. It just didn't go down for Gabe Madsen.
And the reaction from the crowd you just heard, because they showed the replay here inside the Huntsman Center. They disagreed with the call. Nice pass. Ugonna Onyenso the dunk, and the pretty feed from Coleman Hawkins. Already 3 assists for Hawkins tonight. Jake Wallin. First 3 for Utah.
And that's the unselfishness that makes their offense work. That's offensive. Oh, wow. I am shocked that that's not an offensive foul. I thought there was a clear extension of the arm to push off. That one goes against 15 from three-point land so far early in this game.
Kansas State ball after the foul called against Utah.
And some of these looks have been really good.
Especially for a lights-out shooter like Brendan Hassan. The floater short from C.J. Jones. And the rebound grab by Keanu Dawes for Utah. A drop-off here on Little. Justin Lovering rams it home.
Little's played well. I mean, he has been aggressive. He got 2 points early, but setting up his teammates, his second assist of the game. A loose ball diving out of bounds to try to regain possession.
And a 3, the stroke from David Castile. The freshman who's been scoreless in each of the last 4 games he has played in. And he did not even get into the game against BYU Saturday night.
Well, 87% of his makes this season are from beyond the arc. So the scouting report you need to be attached when he catches it from deep. 13 of his 15 makes.
Miro Little to Lawson Lovering again.
They're over-helping right now. The back line of the defense continues to over-rotate to the ball, and that's vacating that back line and allowing Lovering to get those easy 2s.
Shot clock down to 5. Doug McDaniel off balance, and the runner by Doug McDaniel.
Man, he can get to pretty much anywhere he wants to on the floor at any time. He's got such a quick first step, Roxy, and he sees a spot he can elevate up and finish over the top. He's got great touch in the paint.
As you've highlighted, he's really coming on for Kansas State. Back door. And one, Keanu Dawes, and there's the passing ability of Lawson Lovering.
Well, talk about the versatility of Coleman Hawkins. Lawson Lovering brings that same thing to the table. A good job distributing the basketball, catch at the high post, and then cut. And watch a little bit of that hesitation by Hawkins as he cheated out, concerned about the three-point shooting. That half a step allowed that angle to get that pass and create the finish and the opportunity for the three-point play.
Utah's made their last 4 shots from the floor. As Dawes, 71% foul shooter.
He attempted only 1 shot versus Kansas, yet impacted the game greatly. Good defense, 10 rebounds. He made a lot of real positive plays and a good job that time moving without the ball. When you pass the ball, can you cut or do you stand and watch? If you stand and watch, you're basically useless at the offensive end. If you move, as soon as you pass it, you occupy your defensive player, you create space for your teammates to operate, even if the ball doesn't go to you.
Caleb Lohner checks into the game.
4 receptions this year on the football team, all 4 of them for touchdowns. One might say that he should have got the ball more.
It's a high percentage of receptions to touchdowns. Coleman Hawkins cut off on the baseline. That's a 2 from the corner as Brendan Hassan comes up short, and the rebound, Utah.
Really good positioning by the defense, forcing Coleman Hawkins to the baseline.
Jake Wallin and Miro Little hustling for the offensive rebound.
And that's how you get more playing time. I mean, his minutes had dropped. Plays well the other night, comes back here tonight, and he's playing really productive basketball.
Ezra Ausar, the reverse to the baseline. Largest lead for Utah.
After going stagnant offensively to start the game. Remember I said 9-7, only 20% shooting. Now they've made 5 out of the last 6, and they've got some control in this game.
Coleman Hawkins, and an offensive foul, the hook. And the second on Hawkins. Foul trouble early for Kansas State. Hawkins with 2 and David Gasson with 2 for Jerome Tang.
Coleman Hawkins had some words for the official. You got to be very careful. Now, this is a Final Four crew. All of them have been in the Final Four.
Since Utah went 1 for their first 7, the Utes have made 7 of their last 11 shots. Ezra Ausar knifes his way through the key. He'll get to the foul line.
And everything's starting to come towards the basket when you watch them play, right? And you're watching Utah execute at the offensive end. It's short rolls, it's going to the rim, it's being aggressive, it's cutting. They're not settling for perimeter jump shots right now, and because they're the more aggressive team, they've had more success.
Second foul on Moby Ikegarike. 57% foul shooter. Ausar nails the first. To the top teams in the ACC. Highlight our ESPN2 Thursday night women's college basketball coverage. Number 11 Duke hosting Louisville at Cameron Indoor. 7 Eastern on ESPN2 as Ezra Ausar hits both, and a Utah team that has really labored at the foul line this year. They are 6 for 7 from the stripe to start this game.
That's being kind. They're almost dead last in college basketball.
There's only 2 teams worse. Over the top of the drop in for Moby Ikegarike. Jake Wallin glides in.
If you're giving up points to the paint like this, though, I mean, just watch. You see everybody's moving towards the rim, and Kansas State is allowing Utah to have an easy pathway.
Utah's a team, just to put a vote on the foul in the free throw discussion. There's Doug McDaniel launching a three for Kansas State, his second three.
Great ball movement to find Doug McDaniel. His feet set, was ready for it, and that one extra pass created an opportunity to get a clean look.
In Utah, 62% from the line as a team this year. Only the Citadel and Arkansas Pine Bluff are worse at the free throw line than Utah. Ezra Ausar. And his shot blocked. And David Gasson pulls it down. Terrific defense by Moby Ikekarike. Hunter Erickson whistled for the foul.
Now Kansas State trying as they trailed by 4 in the closing minutes here of the first half.
After both teams got off to slow starts offensively, they're finding their rhythm and finding their offensive game here the last number of minutes. As right on cue, Max Jones nails the three.
Little counterattack, right? Start to shift the defense, going right to left and come right back. And the defensive player had their hands down. And Max Jones, we mentioned off the top, they want to see more shots coming off his fingertips, and deservedly so with his efficiency.
Lawson Lovering, offensive foul. And the charge as Lovering lowered the shoulder right into David Gasson.
Lawson Lovering's been really aggressive here tonight. He's got 5 points, a couple of rebounds, an assist. This time just drops his shoulder right into the center of the chest. I've watched enough college basketball games this year to know that that's going to be called a charge.
That, you know, at some point we're getting somebody that's going to foul a three-point shooter. In every game that we have.
I hope not. Don't foul jump shooters. 8 on the shot clock.
Long three. In and out for Doug McDaniel. And Utah clears the rebound.
A good look. I thought that was down.
Mike Shara-Jocks short in the corner. David Gasson pushing it for Kansas State. All the way to the bucket, but left it short. And on the whistle, it goes to Utah as Max Jones was out of bounds when he tied up Jake Wallin.
One of those examples where athletically Gasson, I think, was anticipating potential contact. Didn't really have the lift that he's shown at times to go up and finish above the rim. And then he left it short because of it. He shot it on the way down.
Lawson Lovering denied.
What a block.
Ugonna Onyenso.
Onyenso just did an excellent job defending with his chest, his hands off. Watch as he takes this on the chest a couple times and then just goes straight up. Beautiful timing.
Transfer from Kentucky.
And I thought this was going to be a tight game, and it has played out that way so far here in the first half. Neither team really creating any separation.
Shot clock winding down. And Onyenso again forcing a shot clock violation with the presence of Ugonna Onyenso around the bucket for Kansas State.
And it's been huge because Utah was doing a pretty good job there during their stretch run where they were scoring a bunch of points of spacing out the defense. Help side defensive rotation, really a double block, a block from behind and from the front. Don't see that too often.
It's like volleyball right there. The spike.
Speaking of volleyball, no, I'm just kidding. I have nothing on that one.
No.
That season's over.
Oh, the men's volleyball just started. Six straight points for K-State. 1 point lead for Utah. Shot clock down to 5. Doug McDaniel. Intercepted. Miro Little takes it away for Utah. Second steal for Little. And a double clutch in the lane. And he grabs the rebound and falling down into trouble. 7th Utah turnover.
It double clutched because anticipation, and that's by the way, that's altering a shot, and he was pushed. But that's altering the shot defensively because the block shots we've seen over the last couple of possessions, just by mere presence out on the floor, he double clutched, afraid of the initial block shot before he got the ball and fell. Now, at this end of the floor, the ball has gotten in Doug McDaniel's hands too late in the shot clock on a couple of possessions here. And with 6 seconds or more, he's got to go and be aggressive in attack. Can't settle for long-range three-pointers on a consistent basis.
Max Jones, who lost it going up, got it back, drops it in, and K-State takes the lead. 7 for Max Jones. Doug McDaniel leads Kansas State with 8. While Ezra Ausar has 7. Rather 6 to lead Utah. Lawson Lovering. And a foul, it's on Lagana Anienso.
Time left in the season here with plenty of games to really address and change your resume and how it looks right now, especially in a lot of these conferences. Good touch off the glass by Lovering.
Do you think he meant to do that?
I don't think it matters to any one of these Utah fans or the coaching staff.
Craig Smith will take it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if he's 2 of 3 at the free throw
the
line.
Smile from Lawson Lovering. Whoa, 2 for 2. He's 3 for 4 at the line tonight.
Don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years. They pulled him out. They got to cool him off a little bit. He's on a hot streak. So Coach Smith wanted him to take it in and soak in the 2 made free throws.
You think Craig Smith was worried about a heat check?
No, but I think he's happy for that young man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's worked really, really hard to get better at it. And sometimes it just becomes a mental thing. And I think that's a little bit of it for Lawson Lovering.
Miro Little in and out on the 3. And the rebound tip free off of Utah. Last touch by Caleb Lohner. And it belongs to Kansas State.
I mean, listen, we can poke fun at the fact that he's a 35% free throw shooter and that he's 1 of 13 in the last 3 games coming into tonight. But little things like that make the world a difference. Like, it doesn't matter sometimes how it goes down. You just need to see the ball go through the hoop. And the next one was a swish. It was beautiful. And that's a testament to the work he's put in after shoot around, after practices. He knows it's an issue. And he's been working to try to fix it.
Gabe Madsen forcing a turnover for Utah.
And we talked about Gabe Madsen off the top. How about defensively what they've done with him? I mean, just 1 of 4 shooting so far. And Gabe Madsen trying to find another way to make an impact on the game. Good defensive pressure that time. But for Utah, they need to get number 55 some looks. Kansas State has essentially made life difficult for him in every way, shape, or form. Only 2 3-point attempts in the first half.
They've gone about 5 minutes without a made field goal. But they still lead it by 1, and they're in the bonus. And Gabe Madsen will go to the line, shooting a 1-and-1. Foul was on C.J. Jones of Kansas State. Here's Madsen at the line after he may have gotten poked in the eye. Inside 3 minutes to go until halftime.
Well, we're going to review it.
So they're going to review it to see if it should be upgraded to a flagrant 1 and not just a common foul because of the contact to the eye of Madsen.
All on the floor stand.
Good. The official saw it real quick. That's what a Final Four officiating crew does.
Marquise Pettigrew.
Quick look and say, let's go.
Review.
Way to go. I'm for reviews if it's that quick. If you're telling me that every review the rest of the season is going to be as quick as this crew just did, it's great. What gets me is when we have the 2 that talk at the table. They go through 8 looks. Then the one guy leaves and the other guy comes in, and then we huddle up and talk about it for 5 minutes.
Then the third guy comes over.
Yeah.
And it rolls in for Gabe Madsen.
Look, Madsen getting the ball at the free throw line right now. He is a good free throw shooter, and for him to be able to see the ball go through the hoop. You wonder if this will be the jumping off point for him in the final 3 minutes of this first half to get him freed up and to gain some touch and some feel off his fingertips.
It's very clear that Jerome Tang and Kansas State in their game prep put him as the #1 person at the top of the board of the scouting report. We can't let him get looks.
They talked about it for a good 20 minutes today. Every play they ran through, they said you got to stay attached.
Brendan Hassen ties the game for Kansas State.
I want to stay attached to him too, because he can really fill it up from the outside. A career 40% three-point shooter. A transfer from Villanova.
86% of his field goal attempts are threes.
He had 12 points, 3 of 8 from deep at BYU. Now, this is a matchup Coleman Hawkins needs to aggressively attack.
Max Jones.
What a first half for Max Jones.
9 points to lead all scorers in the game. And a 30-second timeout for Utah.
5
Kansas
assists.
also left Kansas State to coach here at Utah from 1953 to 71, which you see on the side. He is the only head coach to lead 2 different schools to the Final Four twice. So he took Kansas State to the Final Four in 1948 and 1951. And then he took Utah to the Final Four in 1961 and 1966. So special significance to both programs for the legendary coach, Jack Gardner.
I love those connections. And Lovering, after making his last 2.
Here we go.
The thing is, when his body's in sync and his lower body is in rhythm with his upper body, the shot comes off really nice.
The second one that he has banked in. He is now 4 for 5 from the line.
Craig Smith told us today that there's been guys that have said, like, hey, just go for the bank. I don't think he is, but it doesn't matter.
One more for Lovering. And also some of the problem, and you and I were talking to Craig Smith about this. There's so many people in his ear trying to help him. And we just need to have
5 of 6.
One person.
He is 5 of 6 from the free throw line.
Hassen missing a 3, but kept alive by Kansas State. Max Jones to the bucket. And a foul will get Max Jones to the line.
I love the way Max Jones is playing right now tonight. Just aggressive, utilizing his upper body strength. He knows he has the speed advantage on Lovering and gets right into the body of Ausar on that back line.
The transfer from Cal State Fullerton, averaging 10 points per game, but has really been coming on here in the second half of the season for Jerome Tang and the Wildcats.
And did not play his best game last time out. Just 3 of 10 shooting, only 1 rebound. And you look at how he's played here in the first half. A really strong 9 points.
There's so much attention on Coleman Hawkins and Doug McDaniel, deservedly so, for Kansas State. But as soon as you and I brought up Max Jones to Jerome Tang, even before we could finish the sentence, he started glowingly talking about what Max Jones has been doing.
When you have so many transfers, and you see this across college basketball, it's not just centric to Kansas State, but how they gel and the timing that it takes to gel. And what says a lot about Coach Tang is when you lose 6 straight games to start conference play after winning your first, it might be easy just to, shut it down and be like, guys go in their individual foxhole. That has not been the case for Kansas State.
A foul is called, and it's on Kansas State. That'll send Keanu Dawes to the line.
Good movement without the ball. I talked about Dawes, and that's a foul. And we talked about Dawes and his ability to impact the game even when he's not getting shots up. And a lot of that for Utah and how they beat Kansas the other night was on level of aggressiveness. They're plus 10 in the rebounding category already here in the first half.
One more for Dawes. NBA Friday doubleheader. The Knicks take on the East leading Cavs at 7 Eastern. Then it's over to Houston, the Rockets and the T-Wolves. NBA Countdown tips off our coverage on ESPN at 6:30 Friday.
Seeing half the NBA is going to be wild. I mean, all those the trades that went down at the deadline. Lakers obviously very optimistic, but health is going to be really key for them in the Western Conference. They currently sit the 5 spot.
Interesting to see how high the Warriors can climb with the Jimmy Butler acquisition. Jake Wallin, a steal for Utah.
That was a forced pass. I mean, you're not going to get a straight line pass across the key like that.
Left open. Short on a 3, Keanu Dawes. And the rebound, Kansas State.
1 for 11 from 3 on the game for Utah.
The Utes have gone over 7 minutes without a field goal. And yet we have a tie game here late in the first half. That is 7-second differential. Doug McDaniel. Teardrop. And the rebound, Keanu Dawes. Here come the Utes. Miro Little. Little to the basket. And that'll take us to halftime. Tied at 32. Kansas State and Utah tightly contested first.
4 shooting in the first half. Only 2 3-point field goal attempts. They've done a really good job defensively of running and staying attached to him.
Coleman Hawkins, who was scoreless in the first half for Kansas State. But he did have 5 assists. Max Jones leading Kansas State with 10. Lawson Lovering for Utah, who just came away with the basketball there, leads the Runnin' Utes with 9. Last touch by Max Jones. Stays at this end with Utah.
The Utes is really important that they create some energy. I think these fans that are here in attendance tonight, they want to see them go on a run and create a little bit of a home court environment. The problem is defensively, Kansas State's done a really good job.
Pull-up jumper. And the first points of the night for Mike Sharp-Jones.
His length can cause some problems over guards because he's so smooth with the ball in his hands that his high release, tough to block. He gets clean looks often in the mid-range. Analytically, not necessarily the most appeasing shot in today's world, but one that you can knock down consistently.
In and out for Max Jones, and the rebound, Jake Wallin for Utah.
Matson's got a clean look.
Got free in the corner, and he couldn't catch it in. And it's out of bounds, but a foul called, and it's the 3rd on Coleman Hawkins. Fouls mounting for Kansas State. So Coleman Hawkins is 3. David Gasson picked up 2 early in this game for the Wildcats. And Moby Ikegarike is on the bench with 3 right now.
Jerome Tang consistently said when Gabe Matson does get a 3-point shot, the #1 thing we have to do is box out. They're not doing it.
And the lay-in, Ezra Ausar for Utah.
That's the 2nd offensive rebound on that possession by Ausar. It's now 12-2 in offensive rebounds. We saw this story the other night, 16-6 advantage against Kansas. The 12-2 advantage right now is a big part of this.
Step back on a 3. And Max Jones comes up empty.
And Ausar with another rebound.
Jake Wallin.
Who's working harder than #2 in white? I'll give you a hint. Nobody. He's got 3 offensive rebounds in the last 2 trips down the floor. And he got the defensive rebound at the other end.
Lawson Lovering to the bucket.
Those are little things, right? You look at it at the end of the game, do you really understand the value of the box score? And if you just look at the box score, maybe you look and go, maybe Ausar is not that good. But Jerome Tang needs to call a timeout because Ausar is so active. Look at the differential overall in the rebounding numbers. The tougher, more physical team right now is Utah.
Deflected by Gabe Matson, recovered C.J. Jones for Kansas State. 6-0 to start the second half for the Utes. And Jake Wallin claims the Doug McDaniel miss. Gabe Madsen lost his footing. Last touch by the Wildcats. It belongs to Utah.
A little bit out of control on that drive by Madsen. Now for Kansas State, though, a just really difficult start to the second half. 0-4 shooting. Every shot is a contested shot. They've got nothing out in transition. You think about, like, this Utah team held Kansas to only 2 fast break points. Tonight, they've only given up 2 fast break points.
Again, Utah on the offensive glass, and a foul, the third on David Gasson. Actually called it on Max Jones, not Gasson. The first on Jones.
Now just look at the white jerseys, how active they are. Who's initiating the contact? Is it the team in the dark uniforms or the team in the white uniforms?
It's pretty obvious who it is right now.
And that's the difference of making winning and losing plays right now. And you know Jerome Tang is talking to his team about, hey, can you match the intensity?
Super Tuesday lineup set for tomorrow night. On ESPN2 is number 2 Florida hosting Oklahoma at 7 Eastern. On ESPN2, then it's Houston traveling to Tempe to take on Arizona State. And just down the road from here in Provo, over on ESPN at 9 Eastern tomorrow night. Number 23 Kansas and BYU. A couple of big Big 12 matchups tomorrow night on ESPN and ESPN2. As Utah's match their largest lead of the night.
That matches their largest lead. 6 of 8 now from the free throw line for Lawson Lovering. He's got 12 and 6. He has had an outstanding game so far.
Kansas State in desperate need of a bucket. And Doug McDaniel buries a 3.
Every time they need one, we saw it in the first half when they tightened things up and made it 21-25.
Ezra Ausar underneath.
They just pin and sealed him on the high side. Good high-low entry pass. A lot of standing and watching, not a lot of movement right now offensively for Kansas State. When you don't move, you allow the defense to really load to the basketball.
C.J. Jones. And the rebound hustling out of bounds. It belongs to Utah. Rebounds are 8-0. Utah has been very good here at home.
You got to protect your home court. You got to try to get 1 out of those 3 on the road and get to 18 wins heading into Kansas City.
They have just 1 true road win this year. Lawson Lovering backing his way into the lane. And the foul is on David Gasson, his 3rd. And Lovering, who's already made a career-high 6 free throws in this game. He is 6 for 8 at the stripe and 2 more shots for Lovering.
Well, and all of those fouls, what they end up doing is they soften up the interior of the defense of your opponent. Right? As you get in foul trouble, you start to play a little bit more passive. That's also, by the way, when you often foul more. Let's put into perspective here what we're seeing. 15 of 18 from the free throw line by one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the country. 2 games ago at Cincinnati, they became only the 3rd team this season to fail to make a free throw in a single game, only attempting 3. Colgate and Fairfield, by the way, the other 2 teams. So this is an abnormal outcome, but it is something that they've been focused on and trying to make sure that they get a little bit better at. There's a couple games that if they shot this percentage at the free throw line, they'd be in a lot better position as far as tournament resume goes.
Here come the running Utes. Jake Wallin, the drop off, Lawson Lovering. Largest lead of the night for Utah.
And 15 for Lovering.
And they've outscored Kansas State 12-3 to start the second half. Coleman Hawkins on a step back and his first points of the night.
Well, he has to start to become a little bit more assertive as a scorer. The team is struggling around him right now. He's a guy that can score the basketball and utilize his versatility to create matchups where he has an advantage. I get that he can pass the ball.
Ezra Ausar makes a tough shot.
Oh, he has played so well this evening.
12 points, 6 rebounds for Ausar. Drawing the foul before the shot, Coleman Hawkins. And it's on Mike Sharp-Johnson of Utah, his second.
Utah's size in the second half, a big part of why they're up 14-5 here to start the second half. And Lovering and Ausar have combined now for 27 points between the two of them and 12 rebounds. They have been the stars of the night so far for Utah. Good contest.
And a three.
Tough shot.
Brennan Hawson, his second three tonight.
I mean, you can't ask for much better defense. In fact, Matson looked and went like, well, just shrugged his shoulders like he was there. Only thing he could have done is maybe get a deflection on the ball.
That's all Hawson needs. It's just a little bit of space. And he got it off and made the three. And a block. And a foul, a push on Utah, shoving Coleman Hawkins out of bounds. But Ugonna Onyenso with the block shot.
It'll be lovely.
And for Kansas State, that's 6 blocks tonight.
Onyenso's been great. Altering shots, being aggressive around the basket. They need to put him back in and try to make at least the interior presence of Utah start to think a little bit.
And a foul. Jerome Tang wants the goaltend call.
And they're saying it was a contact to the rim while the ball was on it.
And so they're going to count the basket, call it a goaltend, which gives them the ability to review it. Had they not called a goaltend, it was not reviewable. But because the goaltending was called, now they can go to the monitor to see about the call.
Goaltending plays up.
Watch as the ball's on the rim. Contact made with the iron. Is that going to be enough for the officials to say, okay, yeah, this will be a good look here? Yeah, ball's on the rim. Contact made to the rim.
And that should count the bucket and confirm the call for our crew. Again, high-level crew, a Final Four level crew: Marcus Pettigrew, Tony Padilla, Ron Groover. And there's Lawson Lovering making contact with the rim. And while the ball was in the cylinder there.
And they do count it. It's a good call.
And
The Utah player makes contact with the rim while the ball is on the rim. Therefore, basket interference.
So Ugonna Onyenso will have an and one opportunity to give him the bucket.
Now, granted, that ball probably wasn't going in, but it doesn't matter. Ball was on the rim when contact was made.
And the basket interference giving the hoop to Kansas State. And what was a 9-point lead down to 4, and now Onyenso can cut it to 3. He's only shot 10 free throws all year. He's 7 for 10 from the line. The junior from Nigeria. And the good touch by Onyenso. And it is now a 3-point game.
So all that, good early start here in the second half for Utah. It's a one-possession game. Unable to create the separation that you'd like to see. And that's part of Utah's makeup. They just don't have that ability to really pull away.
And Doug McDaniel intercepts the pass. C.J. Jones. And the long rebound tracked down Jake Wallin for Utah. In and out on 3 from Hunter Erickson.
A lot of times when Gabe Matson is on the bench, the offense gets a little stagnant for Utah, and we've seen that now the last 2 possessions.
Offensive foul, the 4th on Coleman Hawkins with 12:22 to go. And that is a real problem for Kansas State.
That call's been called that way all night long. You know, and the consistency of this crew has been outstanding at making those plays. And as a player, that's what you ask for, by the way. Be consistent in the call. And as a player, you have to adjust to how the game is being officiated. And this game's been officiated correctly in that regard.
Over the top to Caleb Lohner. First points for Lohner tonight. That's like a touchdown catch right there. Ends a 6-0 K-State run.
Caleb Story starts at BYU, goes to Baylor, ends up playing football here at Utah. Unique journey.
And he originally signed with Utah out of high school. Off of Miro Little will stay at this end in a Kansas State ball.
And they've drawn a combined 7 fouls against the interior of Kansas State.
Just 1 on the shot clock. And from the corner. How about that shot? Brennan Hawson. The double clutch from the corner. And they're going to the monitor.
I like the call to go to the zone, by the way, especially with the lineup that's out on the floor right now for Utah.
Seemed to confuse him. Getting free, way short from Brendan Hawson.
There's contact to his hand on the shot.
Here comes Utah. And a forced pass, luckily for Keanu Dawes. It went out of bounds off of Brendan Hawson, and it's a Utah ball underneath.
With the offense being stagnant, Gabe Madsen checking back in. Just the threat of Gabe Madsen out on the floor tends to open up a lot of the interior action that you see as Lovery checks in as well now for Utah.
If you're going to stay in his zone, but they jumped into man-to-man. And a step-back 3 from the corner. And another offensive rebound for Utah. Miro Little steps into a 3. Lawson Lovering keeps it alive. Keanu Dawes squares up. And finally, David Gasson pulls it down for Kansas State. 16 offensive rebounds for Utah. But Gasson frustrated with himself after that miss.
Really struggling. As he has not had his best outing tonight. He's 2 of 6 shooting from the floor. And the ball was almost slipping out of his hands on the release. It was already rolling off his hand before he extended up.
Foul on the floor against Utah. And it's on Gabe Madsen, his first. Team foul number 4 on Utah. Will be a throw in for Kansas State on the side. Just over 10 minutes to go. Kansas State, a team that snapped a 15-game road losing streak when they won earlier this month at Iowa State, ending the Cyclones' 29-game home court winning streak. And Max Jones drives, will get to the line, the second on Miro Little. And with that win against Iowa State, they've won 2 of their last 3 on the road, as they won recently at Arizona State.
I'd like to see K-State continue to apply the pressure that they're doing right now. Try to get them to be out of rhythm. Utilize some of that aggressiveness we've seen out of Utah and get to the free throw line. Jones is 75% free throw shooter, just missed his first.
One more for Max Jones. Started his college career in Division II Tampa. Transferred to Cal State Fullerton, where he played the last 2 years for Dedrick Taylor.
He was 15 points a game last season.
He's scored over 1,600 points in his college career. And the roll, it goes for Max Jones, despite the Muss trying to distract him up above the basket on that end of the floor.
And just like that, it's a one-point game. Defense by McDaniel. He hasn't gotten the scoring column here in the second half. He hasn't been overly aggressive as far as looking for a shot. He hit the 1 3-pointer, and that's it.
Miro Little to the basket for Utah.
But defensively, McDaniel's been locked in on Gabe Madsen. He's been everywhere Madsen has been.
Weaving his way in. And then Doug McDaniel lost it out of bounds.
He's got to keep that handle tight. I mean, the move was there, and if he's able to keep it tight and compact, he's going to be able to finish with a layup.
David Castillo, freshman, will give Doug McDaniel a breather. And playing in the altitude, a little different for Kansas State. Miro Little. And it's deflected and stolen. Here comes Castillo for the Wildcats.
This game is being played very much so at the pace that Utah wants to be. No transition points. Everything's being played in the half court.
And that was a big thing for them when they beat Kansas Saturday, was limiting the Jayhawks in transition.
Only 2 transition points here tonight for K-State. They only gave up 2 in a full 40 against the Jayhawks. Their defensive transition, their sense of urgency to get back has been really strong.
And a foul before the inbound, and a hold called on Utah.
You gotta be careful there. I mean, just literally grabbing from behind. Saw one of those the other night here in the building. They actually ended up upgrading to a flagrant 1.
Second personal on Gabe Madsen, team foul number 6 on Utah. As Max Jones powers his way to the basket. And the rebound pulled out by Mike Sharp-Jumps for Utah. Ezra Ausar, and has it deflected, pushing it. David Gasson for Kansas State. And that will get it to the line before the shot. They're going to call it on the floor. And it'll be a 1-and-1. That is the 7th team foul on Utah. So Kansas State in the bonus for the rest of the night.
And that's why you want to continue to be aggressive and attack downhill. When you can shore up your defensive glass and you don't allow second, third possessions on one trip down the floor, it allows you to be much more aggressive and play against an unset defense of Utah. That usually will create a lane or a seam that you can drive and attack.
Gasson, a 59% foul shooter. And he'll get the bonus.
And Kansas State has not been poor at the free throw line today. Just haven't gotten there very frequently. They're 4 of 6. Compare that to 15 of 19 for the Utes.
And the rebound, Jake Wallin for Utah. Wallin spots up in the corner. And a three for Jake Wallin. Timeout, Utah. They're going to rule it a 2 and review it here during the timeout, but also some concern for Kansas State has made just one of their last 7. They've gone about 4 minutes without a field goal, yet down just 4. But an offensive foul, Max Jones called for the hook. And the second on Max Jones.
And Jerome Tang looked at him and said, you did. You know, you come out of basically essentially, you know, you get the timeout, the stoppage and play. Long review, by the way, also to look at that shot. And time to come out, execute, and you just reach around. It's an empty possession. On the road, you've got to try to limit those empty possessions.
.16 on the shot clock for Utah. The Utes have won 5 of their last 6 home games. Trying to keep that stretch going here at home, where they've been very good this year.
A lot of one-on-one play, though, for both teams. When a team's shared the basketball and the ball's been moving more than it's been dribbled, good things have happened.
Lawson Lovering keeps it alive for Utah, fires it off the leg of Ugonna Onyenso.
Well, Gabe Matson was the first one to get his hands on it. He kind of just tried to tip it right back to the rim, and then Lovering's able to go after it. But again, just effort play. Let's get another possession, right? That's the thought process for Utah. How many more possessions can we get? How many more looks can we get?
Season high 18 offensive rebounds for Utah. Keep in mind, Coleman Hawkins on the bench with 4 fouls for Utah, rather for Kansas State. Mike Sharp jumps. Gabe Matson blocked. Lovering. And a foul going for the rebound. They're getting it on Ugonna Onyenso.
Who was the guy that drew the contact and drew yet another foul? Ausar. That's the 3rd foul that he's drawn on the game. Lovering's drawn 5 fouls. And this offensive possession was going absolutely nowhere. Onyenso with his 4th block of the game. Look out.
Ezra Ausar off the inbound. You didn't drop a Branford Schiller. Here comes the lob.
No, he didn't. No. Time and place.
Oh, that's for tomorrow night when we have Kansas. Tough off-balance runner by Max Jones, and Utah comes away with it. Lawson Lovering can't get the reverse. Onyenso the rebound for K-State.
It's been over 5 minutes since a made field goal for K-State.
What point do you bring back Coleman Hawkins?
I don't think that Coleman Hawkins has been that effective in tonight's game, to be honest with you. Like, he had a couple of assists early in this contest, but he hasn't taken advantage. He hasn't gotten down low in the block, where I think that he can be very effective as a scorer. I like the lineup that they have and the length that they have underneath.
And a foul on Onyenso will send Lovering to the line.
Coleman Hawkins is going to check back in. But that last out-of-bounds play underneath, the defense just falls asleep. I mean, no communication. Look at the movement. There's nobody even rotates over and has any awareness of where Ausar is. Just throw it up and let him throw it down.
Here we go again. Lawson Lovering, double-double tonight. 15 points, 10 rebounds. And also a couple of assists. 7 for 10 from the stripe tonight.
I like how he's holding his follow through, though. Like a lot of good movement there for him. Now, Coleman Hawkins checks back in this game. To me, I want him either at the elbows or down low on the block. And he can pass out of that. He demands and requires so much attention when he catches in those 2 spots in particular, Roxy. It does open up the offense for others if he's not going to score. But they need some scoring here. McDaniel, by the way, with 13 points, he did pass 1,000 when he passed the 9-point mark tonight in all-time scoring for him.
Lovering misses both. Gasol blocked by Lawson Lovering. Gabe Madsen, 3.
What's impressed me tonight from Madsen is his poise and patience, not just jacking up three-point shot after three-point shot. Finally sees his first one go down. You say, well, he's 1 of 6. Well, guy shot 22 2 games ago. Shot 13 last time out.
Utah's 2 for 18 from 3. Doug McDaniel spins. 5 on the shot clock. Tough 3 from the corner, falling down. Brendan Hassan for Kansas State.
He is 4 of 9 now with 12 points. He can hit him off balance, man.
And the last 2 were really high degrees of difficulty. Ezra Ausar, 5 to shoot. And the step back. And a loose ball picked up by Lawson. Lovering had it stripped. And a whistle out of bounds. And we're going the other way. It belongs to the Wildcats.
Well, Gabe Madsen has not gotten a lot of clean looks tonight. Just 2 of 11 shooting. Finally got a good one. He doesn't need a lot of room to knock it down. And speaking about not a lot of room, there's no room here. I mean, this is great defense. Drifting, falling down, doesn't matter. He's done that twice here in the second half. And his release is quick and good and consistent, Roxy. He gets that upper body squared, and that release is very consistent.
And a hold off the ball will send Hassan to the line, a 1-and-1.
That's
Kansas State.
Second time he's grabbed him from behind as he's coming off of a screen.
That's also the 4th on Gabe Madsen. And for Madsen, all 4 fouls have come here in the second half. Brendan Hassan, 83% foul shooter, 1-and-1. 4:11 to go. It's now a 3-point game. Can Craig Smith afford to pull Madsen out for a minute or 2?
He can. I don't know if it's the right play. To me, I think you got to trust that his leadership and his experience, you can keep him out there, and that he's smart enough to.
And because they subbed, you're allowed the freedom to make the substitution back at the other end.
It's like in football.
You can match. And it's a 2-point game. And here's that zone again from Kansas State. Ezra Ausar squares up, and the rebound falls to Coleman Hawkins.
I'd stay in that zone. The 2 times they've gone to that, K-State has made Utah feel really uncomfortable. Now Coleman Hawkins has got the switch. You got to go. The man guarding you has 4 fouls.
Doug McDaniel. Here's Hawkins. Gets inside the scoop, and we're tied inside 3.5 to go.
Good late shot clock execution by Hawkins. I would have liked to see him take that on the first side when he had it with Gabe Madsen on.
So from 9 down in the second half, and a 7-0 run by Kansas State to tie the game. Nero Little drops it off to Ezra Ausar's clobber. And the foul is on David Gasson, and that's his 4th foul with 3:04 to go. And Craig Smith.
He's 2 of 2, by the way, at the free throw line tonight.
Are these the toughest free throws? With nobody in the line, and you're by yourself out there in the middle of the floor?
Yes. It gets real quiet. But then at the same time, it's kind of like when you're after practice and you're out there by yourself and there's nobody there.
And he hits both. Not that Steve Lavin ever asked you to shoot technical free throws.
Did not get that. Probably went with Jason Capono. He's a little bit better shooter.
Slightly. That ends the 7-0 K-State run. And now, after the flagrant one, the ball inbounded by Utah.
Good job.
Poked away by Coleman Hawkins. 3-on-2 for K-State. And the runner by C.J. Jones ties the game again.
Really good job defensively that time, being active and forcing that pass over the top to get the deflection and the run out.
First points of the night for Jones.
They stay in the zone. I love what the zone has done here in the second half of the few possessions they've gone to it.
Miro Little weaves his way in the lane. Miro Little puts Utah back on top. Timeout, Utah.
Lovering did a great job of pinning and sealing in the paint. And by ducking in and pinning and sealing, that game fantastic.
Amazing.
Hey, that thing has garnered a lot of attention.
That U.S.-Canada game on Saturday night.
A little contentious.
Right at the opening drop of the puck. And a step back. Doug McDaniel missing a three. And Utah secures the rebound here with 2:15 to go.
And back to man-to-man this possession. Kansas State's done a nice job mixing up the defense, trying to force them to feel a little bit uncertain about what they're running. It's 15 seconds, they finally get into their action.
Gabe Madsen.
That is a defensive breakdown by Coleman Hawkins right there. You've got to read that Gabe Madsen's coming off, and you have got to show and put a hand up. He did not.
Team fouls 8 aside here in the second half. Utah's 2 timeouts remaining. K-State has 1. Coleman Hawkins. Nice find inside at the rim and 1. David Gasson.
Beautiful execution out of the timeout. Hassan set, by the way, Hassan set the screen that opened up Gasson to be able to catch this ball and finish over the top of Lovering.
Third on Lawson Lovering. Gasson 1 for 2 from the line tonight.
Austin set 2 great screens there. He set the one that popped Hawkins, and then he came right back down and set another one.
Jake Wallin grabs the miss. Madsen challenged in the lane. Another Utah offensive rebound. And it curls in. Ezra Ausar +1.
Fitting. I mean, he just gets there. I mean, he has a rebound, a nose for the ball, and the shot goes up. Watch how he wedges in underneath and then reacts to it. Gets his hands on it and goes through the contact, clears out a little bit of space, gets the N1 opportunity. He's got 18 points, 7 rebounds. 5 of those rebounds, by the way, have been on the offensive glass.
Third on Max Jones. And Ezra Ausar, perfect 5 for 5 from the line, 19 points, 21 offensive rebounds for Utah tonight. And a 3, Coleman Hawkins, timeout K-State.
What a shot by Hawkins. This press. Everybody else is looking to pressure and try to see if they can create a turnover here.
And a foul on the inbound, and a block is called on C.J. Jones.
Well, that's the last thing you really wanted to do. Just send him to the free throw line. You press and you put yourself in right standing position, and you wrap your arms around the offensive player, and you send Erickson to the free throw line, where he's the best free throw shooter that Utah has at 90%.
Doesn't go there much, but he's got 2 shots here. That is the 10th team foul on Kansas State. And the double bonus for Hunter Erickson. One more shot for Erickson, the senior from Provo, who began his college career playing for BYU. And he hits the 2 clutch free throws, and it's Utah by 5.
Now 2-possession game. Don't need the 3 on this possession. I'd look to again attack downhill on them if you can. Set that screen action, see if you can get somebody in the paint. Get to the free throw line. But then you got to start thinking about pressing into fouling.
Deep 3. Oh! What a shot, Brendan Hawson.
The logo 3.
He hit that one from South Jordan. Just staying in bounds. Deflected. Picking up the loose ball. Coleman Hawkins.
2-point game. You don't need the 3.
Doug McDaniel. Step through. Missed the layup. David Gasson falling down with the rebound and a travel on Kansas State. (69-67), 31.3 remaining. Again, Kansas State out of timeouts. Utah has 2.
Hawson from literally the logo. I mean, too much time was running off the clock, and he just said, okay, fine, I'm going to go for it. Then they got the turnover right away. And Coleman Hawkins dribbled it all the way out to the 3-point line. They only needed guard the inbounder. Again, they're going to look to trap the first pass, Roxy.
Jake Wallin fakes the baseball pass. Bounces it in. Strip from Hunter Erickson. And Utah escapes the backcourt. Shot jumps. Max Jones on the drive. Lays it in. 13.9 to go. And a foul will send Gabe Madsen to the stripe at the other end. 2 shots, the double bonus.
Pretty good poise there by Utah on that previous possession against the press, Roxy. It could have gone really poorly for them. They throw it up a 50-50 ball, able to get it.
Pass.
Able to get it, and then they were able to attack aggressively against it. To me, I would have dribbled the ball back out and taken more time off the clock and waited for them to foul.
Gabe Madsen 4 for 4 from the line. Shooting 2. Too strong.
1-possession game. Regardless, if he makes or misses here, it's a 1-possession game. Obviously, if it's a 3-point shot and you're K-State, we all know who they want to shoot it. Hawson has got to be the one that gets the look. If not him, it's McDaniel.
If you're Utah game, do you foul if you're Utah?
I would, but I wouldn't foul unless it gets under 7. I think Utah's going to look to foul right away.
Here comes Doug McDaniel. Hawson trying to get a look. Short on the 3. Ezra Ausar the rebound and a foul.
Coach Smith was calling for his team to foul. They did not. And they gave Hawson a good look. I know it was long range, but we saw him just make one from there 4 possessions ago. Trailing the screen. Just hits the front iron.
Foul on Max Jones.
Ausar just needs to make 1 here. If not, they're definitely going to foul. I mean, Craig Smith just brought his whole entire team over to talk to him.
He is 5 for 5 from the line tonight. 19 points, 8 rebounds. A 57% foul shooter on the season for Ezra Ausar.
Little just told the officials what their plan is. Man, he's been good at the line tonight. What a game for him. His best game of the season. I know he had a 26-point game against BYU, but they needed everything out of him tonight on the offensive glass. His efficiency, 7 of 14 shooting, 6 of 6 from the free throw line.
Now 7 for 7. 5 seconds to go in a 2-possession game. And Max Jones throws it away. That'll do it. And a huge 2 victories at home for Utah over Kansas and now Kansas State.
You're talking about